Back to school can also mean kids head back to the doctor's office, of course, as students start sharing illnesses with classmates, whether it's intentional or not. We know it's going to happen.
It's going around. Here to discuss staying healthy this back to school season is Anna Dick with Baylor Scott and White McLane Children's Medical Center. First, why is it that kids tend to get sick right around this time each school year?
Yeah, that's a great question. As parents, it's so frustrating, right? Because we had a great summer. Hopefully everyone was really healthy and having a great time on vacations. And then you send them off to the first day of school and it seems like right away they're coming back with those sniffles, that mucus, that cough, maybe a little fever. This is a very normal response for our body and for our immune system. So remember, as we go back to school, our kids are getting introduced to not only new friends, new teachers, but a new environment. That means new germs, new viruses that they're getting introduced to. And so it's a normal body response to have an immune response that can look like sniffles, cough, sneezing, fever. So it's frustrating, but just remember as a parent, this is a normal process, and the more our body responds to these viruses, the better our body is going to be able to fight that off in the future.
Yeah, it's like building a little war chest there for our kids as they get stronger. Okay, now with COVID kind of picking back up right now, is it a good idea to stock up on COVID tests or medicines for respiratory illnesses right now that go around?
Yeah, I think it's a great idea as a parent to be prepared for just normal kind of illnesses. I usually recommend having some Tylenol, having some Motrin, and especially having a good working thermometer at your house at all times. This has you prepared for when they've got those aches and pains or maybe those fevers. As far as over-the-counter cough medicines, if you have young kids under the age of 6, you really want to be cautious because you don't want to use any decongestants or cough suppressants in this age group. If your child is over the age of 1, honey is a great option to have at the house, which is a great cough suppressant that is natural, helps soothe their throat if they're having that irritation from that mucus. Now, our older kids can sometimes take some of those cough decongestants, mucus things. I always caution you if your child has any kind of medical conditions, especially respiratory things like asthma, talk to your pediatrician about it before you give them any of these medicines. These can sometimes be contraindicated with certain medical conditions, as well as sometimes the medicines that we're giving them for other conditions like ADHD or asthma can be contraindicated and can not work well together. So some of those decongestants in the older kids is safe, but I usually don't recommend on stocking up on it because you want to make sure that you're giving it to them safely. As far as the COVID test goes, it's great that it is really readily available, but we want to make sure that we're using it appropriately. So I don't recommend stocking up on this a lot. Remember, they do expire, so you don't want to get 10 in your house and not be able to use them. And then I always caution people, a positive COVID home test always means positive. We can be really confident in that. But remember that a negative doesn't always mean you don't have COVID. So you want to pay attention to, do you have exposure? Do you have a close exposure? And if you have questions about your test and what it might mean, talk to your doctor about it, because they can also give you some recommendations about what to do moving forward after you've taken that test.
Okay, honey, she says, but I've never seen a sick bee, so that makes sense.
That does make sense. All right, one more question before we go. What can parents do to help their kids avoid illnesses? Because it's so frustrating. I had 2 kids today that wanted to stay home from school, and you kind of have to make that judgment call, like, are you really sick or you just don't want to be at school?
Yeah.
Absolutely. We want to protect our kids, right? We want to keep them healthy. We want them to go to school so that they can learn and they can grow. And so the most important thing is talking to your kids, especially your young kids, about the importance of washing their hands. So we wash our hands when not only we go to the bathroom, but after we maybe blow our nose or we touch a shared objects between other friends. And then covering our cough too, right? We want to make sure we use our elbow. We are not coughing directly into our hands. And then also remind them we don't want to cough directly in our friends' faces either. That's a lot of the time what happens, at least to my kids. And then at home, the most important thing is just promoting a really healthy environment. So #1 thing I say is always make sure that your kids are getting enough sleep. Our school-age kids, especially when they're coming off of the summer, they might have had a little different schedule. Remember that they need about 8 to 10 hours of really good sleep a night. And for our teenagers, especially in those growth spurts, sometimes they might need a little bit more. So really protecting balancing that and making sure that they're getting adequate sleep. And then also nutrition can really be helpful. Make sure they're getting a good variety of foods, lots of vegetables, and staying really hydrated. For my sports people, I do recommend you get some type of electrolyte drink like a sugar-free Gatorade or a Pedialyte to make sure that you're staying hydrated. And then, like we always say with our kids, we want to make sure that they're protected against any kind of diseases that we can. So make sure your kids are getting their school vaccines as well as their COVID boosters, and in the fall, coming up soon, their annual flu vaccines.
Okay, lots of good information today. Thank you so much, Doctor. We want those batteries to recharge and those kids to have a healthy school year. Thanks for your time today.